Alright, welcome to 6.1, which is solving systems of equations. So top equation, we are going to graph this. So we're going to have the y-intercept first. So first, I guess I should back up. Y equals mx plus b. The b is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is -4. So that means on the y-axis, we're going to go down to -4 and put a coordinate. That's our first point. Now we're going to use the slope of 1/2. That's the rise, which means up and down, and the run left and right. We're going to go up 1 and right 2 from the y-intercept. So up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Keep going with that pattern. We could also go down 1. So instead of up and right, we can go down and left. That's going to give us another point. Here's our first graph. And then the bottom equation, we're going to go with, so it's in y equals, the y is solved for, y equals. So the -1 is your y-intercept. So I'm going to go on the y-axis to -1. And then I'm going to use the slope of -1/4. I'm going to put the negative up to the numerator, so down 1, right 4. I could also go up 1 and left 4. Here's our graph. And where do they intersect, the graphs? They intersect at 4, -2. 4, -2. 4 to the right and 2 down, so that's 4, -2. So 4, -2 is the answer I'm looking for. Number 2. Graphing the top equation, we have a -3 as your y-intercept. And then we have a slope of 1, slope of 1. When we have that, we're going to put it over 1, so we're going to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Or you can, instead of up and right, we can go down and left, down and left. Here's our first graph that represents the equation y equals x minus 3. On the bottom, again, we have y is solved for, y equals. You have +3 is your y-intercept, and then it's going to be 7 over 1. Instead of going up 7 and right 1, that'd be off the graph. We can go down 7, 5, 6, 7, and left 1. And there we go. You really technically only need 2 coordinates to make a line. But now what's this coordinate that where they intersect? They intersect at -1, -4. -1, -4 is the solution. I'm going to jump to, so you got the first 2, that's great. I'm going to jump to the second page, and I'm going to do a couple problems here. So on this top equation, looking here, top equation, we do not have y equals, so we're going to have to move some terms around. We have 3 terms here. We have -2y, a 3x, and a -2. There's 3 different terms, and to solve here, we're going to get y by itself, so this y here needs to get by itself. If you ever have another term on the same side as the variable you are trying to solve for, you move it. When you're moving terms, like we're going to move this whole plus 3x, when you move terms, you are doing the opposite. It's a positive, so we're going to subtract 3x and subtract 3x. 3x subtract 3x is going to be 0. You had 3x's and you got rid of 3x's, you get 0. The -2y comes down, and now you could write -2 subtract 3x, but I'm going to make the x term first. So -3x subtract that negative now will become a subtraction. Now to break up a term, this -2 is attached to the y by a multiplication. So to break it up, you divide. And anytime you multiply or divide, you multiply or divide by every single term. So we get y, so -2 divided by -2 is 1. And 1 times y is just going to be the y. -3 divided by -2 is +3 over 2. And -2 divided by -2 is a +1. There's my top equation. Let's graph it. So we have the +1 is your y-intercept, and your slope is up 3, right 2. Instead of going up 3 and right 2, we could also go down 3 and left 2. And there are 4 points that we can graph on the coordinate plane that is provided. So there's my first one. Second equation, we need to get the y by itself. There's only 2y. The 2 is the reason why it's not y equals. So instead of multiplying by 2, you got to divide by 2. So this is going to become 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times y is y. equals, there's 1 over 2. I'm going to pull that fraction out, 1/2 x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Graphing the y-intercept is 3. And then we're going to go up 1, right 2. Oh my gosh, we had it already. I'm going to do some more points just for practice. So I'm going to go, instead of going up and right, I'm going to go down and left 2, down and left 2. Because at some point we're going to have to use that 2, the down opposite directions. All right, the coordinate that is the intersection point is at 2 on the x and 4 on the y. So 2, 4. That is the solution there. All right, I am going to talk about number 8 now. Let's take a look at number 8. We got this top equation, does not have y solved for. If you do not like the y on the right side of the equal sign, let's move it. Let's switch these around. So 4y plus 5x equals 4. And now let's get the y by itself. We have a term on the same side as the y, so that's the x term. We're going to subtract 5x because it's a positive 5x. This is positive. 4y is going to come down. I'm going to put the x term first because that's going to be where my slope is found, and it's plus 4. And then I'm going to break up the 4y by dividing by 4 on every term. Y equals negative 5/4 x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Let's graph it. So up 1 is your y-intercept, and then down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I cannot go up 5, so that'll be it. So then we have our bottom equation. You can do two things here. You have 0 equals a negative 1 minus y minus 5/4 x. To solve for y, there's two different ways you can go. You could add 1 and add 5/4 x. I'll do it that way. And then add 5/4 x. So 5/4 x plus 1 equals a negative y. Then I could divide by negative 1 on every term, which when you're dividing or multiplying by a negative, all it really does is it changes the signs. It was a positive 5/4 x becomes negative. It was a positive 1 becomes a negative. So this is one way to do the problem. I'm actually going to erase this, and I'm going to show you the fastest way to do the problem. Way easier. So at the very beginning, I see that the y is negative. Oh my goodness, there's a lot to erase. I should have just erased it. I just didn't want that line through. Here we go. All right, at the very beginning, if you notice that the y is negative, if you move it to the other side by adding y, then it's done. We have 0 plus y is y equals negative 1 minus 5/4 x. If you want to move these terms around, the negative 1 and the negative 5/4 x, you certainly can to make it in the slope and then the y-intercept. Graphing this, down negative 1, I'm going to go down 5, can't, right 4. That'd be off the graph. So I'm going to go up 5 and left 4. What do you guys notice about this graph? These two graphs. They are parallel. You can actually see it in their equations. They have the same slope, but they do not have the same y-intercept. So they are not the same line. So it is not infinite solutions, but instead, because they're never going to touch, it's no solution. They'll never touch, so no solution. All right, hope this helped you. Thanks.